One of the world's great landmarks sits right here in our backyard in Niagara Falls. And in recent weeks, that area has made headlines for all the wrong reasons after a series of suicides taking place in a 2-week span. But what's being done to stop this? And could that impact the way we experience Niagara Falls? 2 on Your Side's Andy Payton takes us there in this 2 on Your Side original report.
It's hard not to feel mesmerized by the beauty and grandeur that makes Niagara Falls one of the world's wonders. But that lure
you notice people that may not be having a great day.
Also has a dark side.
Yeah, if you work here, you're going to have those conversations.
That's Chris Rolo, a captain with the New York State Park Police.
This year we have 84 calls for mental health issues.
His day-to-day includes patrolling Niagara Falls, one of the top suicide hotspots in the world that typically sees about 25 suicides a year, 2 of which taking place just within the last 6 weeks, one involving 33-year-old Chanty Means and her 2 kids, ages 9 and 5 months old, going over at Luna Island, and the other just a week and a half later, when another still unidentified woman jumped into the Horseshoe Falls.
Yeah, it sticks with everybody. I mean, it's always difficult.
To try to prevent those difficult situations, Park Police have installed cameras all across the falls to provide 24/7 surveillance, crisis service hotlines that directly dial Niagara County Crisis Services, and curved railings to create a physical blockade. Measures that Rolla tells me he believes are all that can be done.
You don't think anything more needs to go on top of that?
I just think intentional acts are intentional acts. I mean, if we could prevent all intentional acts, we wouldn't have any crime or any bad things happen, right?
They go there because of ease of access to lethal means.
But Kevin Hines wholeheartedly disagrees.
It's quantifiable. You can do it and you disappear.
Because he's been in their shoes, jumping over 200 feet off the Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco.
The millisecond my hands left the rail, I had an instantaneous regret for my actions and this 100% recognition that I just made the greatest mistake of my life.
Kevin able to talk to us today, now over 20 years later, thanks to a sea lion that helped keep him afloat until he was rescued by the Coast Guard, and has since committed his life to keeping others from doing what he did.
I'm not claiming to save lives, I'm not a lifesaver, but I am a conduit.
Something he's successfully done at the Golden Gate Bridge is after years of petitioning for change, the city of San Francisco installed this suicide prevention net in January that has led to an 80% decrease in suicides in its first year, and saw the first 3-month period without a suicide at the Golden Gate Bridge in almost a century.
What's keeping someone from just going elsewhere?
If they're removed from that situation, they're given what's called time. And given time, they're able to consider other options besides death by their hands.
That's a change many believe can happen at Niagara Falls.
The idea is to add on to railings like these and tack on suicide prevention barriers, but you can't do that without completely changing the view of the falls for the millions of tourists that visit here every year.
Would it change the view? Yes. Would it save lives? Thousands. What matters more to you?
That discussion is still one lawmakers aren't even ready to touch, but proposes another. If there will ever come a day where the beauty of the falls is the only reason these tourists come to visit.
Very interesting. Andy, in your story toward the end, you were talking about legislation or lack thereof. Is there any discussion about this?
Yeah, so those I've spoke with up in Niagara County right now are telling me that lawmakers are certainly aware of these proposals, specifically that one we showed you there about adding on to those curved railings there. However, at this time, there's nothing really concrete in the works. But folks we've also spoke with tell us that lawmakers are certainly perceiving those ideas very well, and it's certainly possible that that could change in the years to come.
Certainly an interesting story, something that many people can relate to because we've all been to Niagara Falls at one point or another. But we have to talk about resources for people who may be struggling or know someone who is struggling.
Absolutely, we really do. We want to take this chance to speak to our viewers here a little bit. If you are experiencing anything, going through a hard time, or considering taking a harmful act like that, please reach out to someone. You can always dial 988, which is the national hotline for suicide prevention. That's monitored 24/7. And Claudine, we're going to have more on this on our website, WGRZ.com, on some ways folks can get some help here in the local area.
Excellent story, Andy. Thanks so much for bringing it to us on the 5:30.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate it.